Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and let's read my favorite kind of music take lately. Geese, actual dog band. These talentless hacks from Brooklyn sound like they recorded their entire album in a flooded basement while choking on their own pretentiousness. Every song is just whiny, off-key yelping over the same boring post-punk riff that every other shitty New York City band has been recycling for 15 years. The singer sounds like he's having a stroke mid-take and decided to keep it because it's raw, bro. Their lyrics? Deep as a kiddie pool. Ma anxiety, ma city life, my existential dread while I sip $9 oat milk lattes. Shut the fuck up. Nobody cares about your boring Brooklyn problems, you insufferable hipster. F. Cameron Winter especially. That smug, talentless prick ruins everything he touches with his nasal, piss-weak voice and zero charisma. He is the main reason this band sucks so hard. Without him, they might have been mediocre, but with him, they are pure fucking torture. Geese is not music, it is a hate crime against ears. If I wanted to hear this much unlistenable garbage, I would stand outside a Williamsburg loft party and let the noise bleed through the walls. Worst band in existence, change your name to Garbage because that is exactly what you are. Hope you get canceled. So let's talk about, vitriolic internet discourse around music. To start off the bat, while this post is obviously a little over the fucking top, I am not about to come on here and act like having a negative opinion, even an extremely negative opinion about a certain song, album, or artist is against the rules. That would be maybe a little hypocritical of me. No, what I actually want to talk about is the ways in which internet algorithms, I feel like, force these kinds of attitudes and reactions. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but when going on Twitter, when going on TikTok, Instagram, if you are at all plugged into the conversations around indie and underground rock these days, it seems like everybody and anybody there is that listens to even a little bit of alternative music has to have some opinion on Geese. Even a recent promo pic I put on Instagram for Icarus jerseys, where I was looking very cute in a Geese top, I might add, nearly devolved in an utter hate fest for the band, just attracting commenters from all over the internet, telling the world how much they think the band sucks, which I find funny, not only because I actually do enjoy the band's music, but if people were going to react this way, I would expect it maybe more on a review or a piece of content where I'm taking a very staunch, strong stance on whether or not I like them. But really at this point, that is the power of Geese. Just merely seeing the band's name or a picture of Cameron Winter is enough to send some people in a tailspin. And I feel like it has less to do with the band's music and more of this, I think, sense of overexposure a lot of people are seeing of Geese on the internet. Because again, in music discourse algorithms all over social media, it's kind of hard to escape the band, which if you really don't like their music, I could imagine is pretty grating and annoying. I mean, maybe the option is there to block any and all channels that are even mentioning Geese in passing to save yourself from being bombarded with the band's music. But that might entirely cut you off from pools of discourse you're usually used to swimming in. And look, even if takes like the one I just read are a little disingenuous or performative, being posted for trolling purposes, it still says something that people are seeing the way the algorithm is working and noting Geese's popularity as an opportunity to get some traffic by virtue of hating on them. Because again, anything Geese related is guaranteed to get some kind of traffic or views or discussion. And again, I think it's because of this sense that a lot of music listeners have that you have to have an opinion on the band because everybody's listening to them, everybody's talking about them. When in reality, this is very much a facade that is being presented to us via the internet. Not to say that Geese's popularity and hype is fake or undeserved. I do think they are a talented group of musicians and aren't really that radical or offensive when you view them within the context of indie bands from the 2000s that got relatively big doing something similar with kind of strange rock and instrumentals and yelpy lead vocals. Wolf Parade, Sunset Rubdown. I swear a lot of these people freaking out about Geese would not survive an algorithm push of like a bit of Orca, Dirty Projectors, or even like peak era tune yards if they had the chance to kind of like get popular in the current internet age. stage. Either way, while I know it may seem like Geese is everywhere right now between their many festival placements this year and the SNL performance, let's just put it in perspective that after all of this exposure, all of these internet posts, all of this traditional media coverage, and their new album being as hyped up as it was last year, the band still only currently sits just below 2 million monthly listeners on Spotify, which leads me to sort of say that exposure through algorithms and the internet for a lot of underground artists and bands right now, especially in the world of rock, I don't know, long term, are we going to see it do more harm than good? Because I've been listening to Geese for years at this point and enjoyed the record they dropped before their new one, 3D Country. And I missed the time on the internet when people either really didn't know that much about the band or could just be normal about them. If they did run across their stuff, the reaction was mostly either, it's not for me, or, hey, cool new band that I didn't know about before. Now, with the frequency with which people are being exposed repeatedly to their stuff and their performances and their name over and over and over, it feels like it's creating more hate than enjoyment of their stuff. Though I suppose maybe that could be a silent majority, as negativity is often inflated on the internet. But inflated or not, these reactions are just far too outsized for a band that doesn't even have 2 million people on Spotify listening to them every month. I just don't see the reason for freaking out in reaction to them, especially when their actual real popularity and listener consumption is so relatively small. On some level, it feels almost driven by either jealousy or a kind of crabs in a bucket mentality, where because the indie scene is such a small interconnected pool, haters and people who dislike certain sounds, trends, and artists are quick to do everything that they can to snuff out and destroy the popularity and success, because seeing it get bigger would actually anger you due to the fact you've told yourself this bedtime story about who you do and don't think deserves to be famous and deserves to be successful or not. Frankly, I've learned a long time ago through thousands and thousands and thousands of reviews that who does or who does not work for or deserve success in the music industry has very little to do with my opinion on their music and whether or not it's good. Because whether or not you're making good art, some musicians just happen to find their audience, and that audience has a taste that is different from you. And sure, while occasionally it can be kind of aggravating to see the fandom behind a certain artist or musician buoyed by a lack of experience or knowledge, people not knowing how many artists or albums came before that did the exact same thing and maybe even better, all you can really do in reaction to that is just sort of educate people and use this as an opportunity to turn people onto other stuff. And look, while this isn't happening exactly right now, personally, my fear is that this, newly broken duo Angine de Poitrine over the next 6 to 9 months could suffer a very similar fate. Because while it may all be exciting right now with the duo blowing up and having a lot of viral moments, they too have not even broken the 2 million monthly listener mark on Spotify with all the buzz and all the traffic they're pushing right now. But their music, their image, their whole shtick does seem a little kind of, I guess I would say, inescapable at the moment. And while that's fine, I think it's cool an underground band like them is kind of, getting the attention that they are. How much longer before tons of random weirdos in the underground scene kind of pull the knives out and see their popularity as an opportunity to get angry and upset about how much they do or do not deserve to be famous because, I don't know, they're not like the most original band on the planet, or you think their costumes are annoying, whatever. And look, again, to reiterate, not liking things is fine. Having negative opinions is fine. But I feel like we're kind of stepping over a line when we're posting and proselytizing in a way where we are hoping and praying for the destruction of these artists, when the only sin they've committed is that they've made some music you don't like all that much. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. I'm sure you will. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Geese, forever.